I'm going to walk you through the process I used to make what you see here. I set this up outside. I had my 5-year-old daughter home with me today. I let her drop some marbles in acrylic paint mixed with a little bit of water. We have several colors that we're going to be using. Then I took the marbles and dropped them in to a box where there was paper taped onto cardboard. And then my daughter had a lot of fun swirling these marbles around and making really cool lines. So, this is not a very meditative activity. This is a very creative, fun activity, but I want to be upfront. This is not an art meditation technique, but this would be great for connection and creativity. And it was a lot of fun. And look at these expressive pieces that we came up with. And I love this gold one. We used some gold acrylic paint, and this one that's multicolored, we used coral, teal, and gold paint. I'm not going to touch this one. We're going to leave this one as is. Now I'm going to do an art meditation process using the black and the gold paintings. So I am bringing in my watercolor palette today, but I'm not going to be using regular watercolor brushes. I'm using my water brush pens. When I do art meditations or when I'm doing this for presence, grounding, mindfulness, I like simplicity. So I like to use tools that are very easy to set up, that require almost no cleanup. So I just had a full setup, cleanup process with my daughter and the marbles and the acrylic paint. Now, as I start coloring in some of these shapes, I just want to relax. And this is my alone time. And so I'm not really getting any of my other fancy art supplies out to finish this off. But as you can see, I've been taking my water brush pen and dipping it in watercolors. And now I'm just intuitively coloring in some shapes. And you can do this a couple different ways. So I'm actually coloring in small shapes on this piece here with the black lines. When I do the one with the gold lines in just a few moments, I'm going to let the coloring extend beyond just the individual shapes themselves. So that'll make sense when you see it, but wanted to put it out there. And I'm going to use a few different colors today. I really didn't plan ahead for this. I just popped open my watercolor tin and just went for it. So this is my flow state. I didn't listen to any music with this one. It was just the sound of the leaves in the trees outside and cars as they were driving by. And I let myself really feel the sensations on the paper, the water brush pen against the watercolor paper. And this turned out quite lovely. I felt good about the 4 colors. And now let's do our gold piece. And for this one, I'm thinking I'll go just one color. Let's just use one color on this one. So I want to get a nice red here. And when you're using watercolor, the more water you use, the lighter color you will get. And the less water you use and the more paint you have, of course, the deeper or darker the color will be. So I kind of tried to play around with the variation of how much water I was using. But here you can see I'm not just coloring in single shapes every time. I'm letting that extend into, larger pieces and coloring in multiple shapes that are lined up in a row. This is a technique I've seen a lot in kid-friendly art forums. So a lot of preschool and grade school art teachers use this marble and acrylic paint technique. And I've also seen more advanced artists do this technique too, with different kinds of inks. They're not necessarily using acrylic paint, but you could certainly experiment with other materials here. And I just really love that shimmer on the gold piece. And now let's peel off the tape. So these had been taped onto like a cardstock kind of cardboard. I use them as inserts with mailers when I mail out my art prints. But there you go. Those nice clean edges are revealed. We can see what our pieces end up looking like. And this was just a lovely process. So I loved the fun, expressive part with my daughter, and then the quiet, meditative time I had alone to color in these shapes. And here's that piece that we used three different colors with the marbles, and I decided not to color in these shapes. I just really like how this one turned out. That's our create and meditate moment for today. Thanks for watching.